Hector Berrellez has a theory. Now, y'all know how I feel about these guys, whether they lived in official capacities, whether they were DEA agents, CIA agents, ginger bitches from the swamps of fucking nowhere that did nothing, that are just grifting on the internet. I feel like everybody is exaggerating their point, their opinion, their stories. It goes from exaggerating to straight up fucking lying. And I don't put it past nobody. Politician, doctor, nurse, crackhead, gangbanger, proti, hitman. I don't put it past anybody, bro. I don't put it past even journalists at this point, that they could be telling me bullshit and adding extra shit to their report. All right. I feel the same way about former DEA agents. With that said, we're gonna listen to Hector Berrellez's theory that El Mayo turned himself in. We've had people in here that this might be good for. They might love this section because they've been trying to tell me for over 2 years. I think he turned himself in, Shy. I keep saying, nah, it's chilling. Mountain life. I got this mountain. I can go to that mountain. I can go to that mountain. I can go to that mountain. I'm not going to go sit in a cold cell because, what? I want to make a deal for my kids or, nah, none of that shit, man. I'm straight. Y'all can't catch me? All right, got to be quicker than that. We've covered Hector Berrellez before. He has his Kiki Camarena stories or whatever, and we take what we believe, and then the rest of that shit, we take it with a punch of salt. We throw that shit away. But let's get into this theory. Shout out Danny Jones Podcast.
I said it from day one. Mayo Zambada was not kidnapped. He volunteered.
Why would he volunteer?
He wasn't kidnapped.
Because you think he's been working with the CIA for a long time?
I don't think so. I pretty much know that he volunteered. Yeah, because look at the facts, Danny.
I believe that. I believe he's been working for the CIA for a long time. I could believe that. I could believe he did work for the DEA. That's what they called it. FBI, ICE, ATF, all of it. I could believe that. That doesn't mean nothing to me as far as him turning himself in. I could believe that he's, again, you still run your criminal operation. It's just like in the movies, man. You seen Sons of Anarchy when they had Danny Trejo's character. Yeah, he was running his little cartel, but he had the backing and the help of the CIA. Yeah, same shit. So yes, I believe that. I still don't believe he turned himself in.
He's flown in. There's 50, at least 50 agents waiting for the landing of the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And the first information was that he had been tricked on the plane by El Chapo's son.
Yeah.
Ismael Guzmán.
Whatever his name is.
Beltran or whatever, Lopez or whatever his name is. And the pilot escaped. What?
That's
disingenuous.
Official story.
The pilot escaped.
The pilot, that's not the official story. That's my story. This fucking guy watching my videos, that's my story. He jumped out the fucking little window. He ran, jumped the fence, back to Mexico. That was my story. I also said he's standing next to the plane greeting people as they come into the museum exhibit where the plane is being held. But it's disingenuous to say he escaped if the official story is as such. The official story is that he was arrested, wasn't charged, was sent back to Mexico, where he caught another case, got sent back to the United States. If you ask me personally, he is one of Ivan Archibaldo's pilots. I don't think he flew that plane. I think that's the official story. But it ain't what he's saying, that the motherfucker just escaped.
Now, if DEA and the FBI and the CIA and the generals and everybody in the government knows that this plane bringing Mayo Zambada is landing there, how does the pilot bringing him in escape?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't, bro. It's a ridiculous notion. Why is it that he wasn't a CIA pilot, ghost, that could just disappear? And then the United States tell us it's Buddy's pilot, Honda, Civic. That seems more plausible to me that the dude from Mexico didn't even fly that plane. Why are we looking so hard for the same guy that been flying that plane? The same guy that probably hooked up Joaquín with the, keys. Or at least the Addy to the runway.
First story. Everybody in the government knows that this plane bringing Mayo Zambada is landing there. How does the pilot bringing him in escaped.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first story.
Where did they land? Do you know?
Teresa, something or other, little town.
Something or other. But what do you mean he escaped, bro? He ran off the tarmac, bro, like I said?
No, south of El Paso there in Texas.
Shout out Cody. I think he was an informant at the very least, DEA informant. Mayo, we don't have to guess no more, bro. His son told us. Long time informant for the DEA with Chapo's connections. Long time informant with the Mexican military. Long time. I didn't make that up. The book by Anibal Hernandez and Vicentillo Zambada told me that. So yeah, at the very least, shit. The pilot. The pilot at very least a DEA informant. One way or the next, I'm of the belief that he didn't even fly that plane, Hondo. I believe they just needed a... Bro, it was strange from the beginning that they didn't have a pilot in handcuffs. That told me from the jump that was a U.S. pilot. That's just me, though. What do I know? I'm a fucking YouTuber.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't in El Paso. Santa Teresa.
Santa Teresa.
Yeah, that's the name of the little town where they landed. Okay. How, if the DEA and the CIA were not involved in the kidnapping, how did they know to wait for the plane to land there and when it was going to land, number one?
Yeah, because their guy, Joaquín, called them and said, hey, ya voy. I'm on my way. Yeah, we know Joaquín had a deal with the U.S. government. They flew over 17 of his family members. Yeah, that's what happened.
Number two, the Mexican government accused the U.S. government of kidnapping Mayo Zambada. Ken Salazar, the ambassador, says, no, we didn't. We were not involved in that operation at all. We did not kidnap Zambada. He's not lying.
But are you late that they just admitted to a bunch of shit? They just admitted that they did this and they did this and they did that, and now they got the fucking plane over there? Like,
Zambada turned himself in.
That's it? You're just going to say it emphatically and I'm supposed to believe it? We have answers for everything that you just said. The U.S. has taken responsibility for being involved minimally. Again, this is according to the sources of Luis Chaparro, not the sources of Shail. But we do know they rolled that motherfucker out into a museum. We do know that the DEA or the FBI owns that shit now. But just you saying that he escaped because he turned himself in because so how about all that little rules over there and them bodies and all of that shit?
That operation at all.
His bodyguards, his longtime bodyguards getting smoked, fuck them. As far as Mayo's concerned, fuck them. Matamigos, that's what they called them, right? Shout out Sam. I wonder what benefits Hondo will get just so that he could take the blame for driving the plane. I think he's already pleaded guilty a couple months ago. He'll get something. I don't know. Maybe he get nothing. Maybe he's just the patsy, the pendejo. He ain't got no choice. Once they got you, they ain't got to negotiate with you. They don't have to. What you think? They got to give you, not you, but what you think? They got to give you a prize? They don't got to give you a prize. They just say, all right, thanks, fuck you. In his case, I'm thinking he could come out tomorrow and say, I wasn't flying that plane. They'd be like, shut up, bitch. Yes, you were.
Shut up, bitch. Shut your fucking mouth.
Nobody's going to listen to him. He probably don't get shit.
We did not kidnap Zambada. He's not lying. Zambada turned himself in. And the reason he turned himself in is because Zambada had been a DA informant for years.
Okay, we know that. More reason for him to sit on this fucking mountain, no?
He's been working for the CIA and the DEA. Of course, they're not going to say none of this. I'm going to remind you, when El Chapo was being tried, El Mayo Zambada was in Mexico, and he called his son, El Vicentillo, who was being held in a federal detention here. He used the DEA to go into Vicentillo's cell and say, here, your dad wants to talk to you.
Yeah, we know.
Vicentillo takes the call, and El Mayo Zambada tells him, cooperate with the U.S. government, testify against El Chapo Guzmán.
Mind you, yes, they say that phone call happened. Didn't even need to. They already have multiple meetings with their children, multiple meetings with their sons where they told them when the shit hits the fan, throw everything that you know at it?
So El Vicentillo and el Mayo Zambada's brother, El Rey, were the two major witnesses that testified against El Chapo Guzman in Chapo Guzman's trial.
Okay, so this is all things we know. Doesn't say that he turned himself in.
El Mayo got a DEA agent to walk a phone into the prison cell.
Yes, sir. That's a fact.
And El Mayo told these guys to...
No. El Mayo told his son to cooperate with the U.S. government and go ahead and testify
against El Chapo.
Against El Chapo,
We need to do a deep dive into that phone call.
Had been his right-hand man in the Sinaloa cartel.
They both founded it together, right?
Yes. So, now you tell me, why would El Mayo call the DEA to take the phone, let the son talk?
Because he has a relationship.
And not only that, the DEA was behind getting El Mayo to tell these people to cooperate against El Chapo so they could convict El Chapo. I mean, I know how it works. You're not going to kid me. All right? So, no, what happened was El Mayo Zambada decided that he wanted to get out of Dodge. It's getting too hot now.
Why? Getting too hot? What was hot?
With a war with El Mencho, with the Sinaloa Nueva Generación cartel and the Sinaloa cartel, because they were at war with each other. He decides to get out. His brother's already a cooperating witness, and so is his son. So he decides he's going to turn himself in.
So he's worried. He's worried about them rushing his house like Sosa did Tony Montana and shit on the mountain. He's worried about them getting to him personally. So you're telling me that it was so hot for El Mayo on his mountain, one of the 6 that he can go to, that he decided to turn himself in?
Bullshit.
Sounds like some bullshit to me. Nobody's ever given me a compelling argument as to why he would turn himself in. For all he knows, he could have died in the operation of doing all of this. Why is he doing that? I just don't believe it. Him being a federal informant is more reason for him to go for 30 years. Is more reason for him to sit his ass still, as far as I'm concerned,
and cooperate with the U.S. government.
He had his bodyguard that was with him for many, many years killed in that shit. Well, he's missing. He's never been found. Unless he pop up one day. They gave us the lie about Melesio Quinn dying in a gas station. That was bullshit.
Bullshit.
This guy's story don't hold no weight. This is just... Everybody got to do something to get interviewed, man. And I get it. He knows his shit. That's cool. Shit ain't lining up.
The reason it has to be like this, Dan, is because, number one, the ambassador Ken Salazar is not going to lie out to the public and
No, mommy's wait.
Of course, the U.S. ambassador is not going to lie. Of course not. America, man.
This is America.
say that we were not involved in the kidnapping, which we were not, because it wasn't a kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
And he told the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, we were not involved in that. He's not lying. El Chapo decides that
He's not lying. So President Sheinbaum didn't ask the same question. How did an airplane fly over international borders into a airport and not get shot down or scrambled upon? Of course. There was an asset on that plane. The original asset was Joaquín Guzmán López. The secondary asset, which became the big fish, was Mayo Zambada. The third was the pilot, which it's a ghost. Yeah. 17 members of Joaquín Guzmán López's family were brought here soon after. Reports from Luis Chaparro say there were many conversations. The Flores twins had their many conversations with the DEA before they did their final move. Of course there was talks. Of course there was people having conversations. The ambassador ain't privy, ain't gonna say none of that shit. You just gotta put a new curl in the story for people to do interviews. So it's like, I can't buy this story. Give me a real reason he turned himself in.
he's going to cooperate, and he basically sets up this scenario that he's being kidnapped by El Chapo's son, who turned him in who was on the plane with him, and basically surrendered there. But here's the thing. What's interesting now, currently in the Mexican news is, guess what? They found the pilot.
Oh, yeah?
The Mexican government found the pilot.
What do you say?
He said he wanted to be turned over to the United States. And guess what they did a couple, 2 days ago?
What?
The pilot is here again.
He said he wanted to be turned over. This sounds like bullshit. I never heard that.
Bullshit.
Never heard that. Heard he got popped off for some weapon shit again in Mexico and got sent over in one of those cartel expellings. That's what I heard. I heard that he was mistakenly deported. He wasn't even charged with anything here, which is what makes me feel like he was never the one flying that fucking plane. Makes me feel like he wasn't here. They just needed Hondo, the plane guy. That guy was never here. I don't believe it. This guy's talking like it's just like gossip. Like he's just adding the crema to the tacos.
Is this reported on?
Yes.
Is it Mauro Alberto Nunez Ojeda?
Yes. I believe that's the pilot. Yes.
So, what now?
What do you make of it? Now, you're an intelligent guy. What do you make of all this? Why would Mexico not interrogate him from A through Z on El Mayo's kidnapping or El Mayo's whatever? He was involved from the beginning to the end.
Because he never flew the fucking plane. That's my answer.
Pilot. We supposedly let him go. He goes back to Mexico. The Mexican government now has just picked him up, and now they deport him over here without interrogating him about how Mayo got here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
You know, unless people in the Mexican government are just taking bribes to, you know.
Something is not wrong with this picture. Something is very wrong with this picture, I'm saying. Something's up. Why would the Mexican government, who supposedly is upset and saying we're violating Mexican sovereignty by kidnapping
Why wouldn't they? Because it's all bullshit.
Mayo, they made all those accusations against the U.S. When they get the pilot that knows everything, they don't even interrogate him or investigate him. They send him back to the U.S.
What do you make of that? What do you think?
I firmly believe that Mayo surrendered himself. They made this story up that he was kidnapped and all of that, which he was, and he surrendered himself. And I believe that
because it was getting too hot, he didn't want to deal with it anymore. He wanted to
Miss me with the heat, bro. I'm not buying it.
eject.
not only that, he became a government. He testified against all these former presidents he paid off, and he provided a lot of testimony against a big guy by the name of Maduro.
I don't listen. That's the guy that I believe turned himself in, Maduro. Do I believe Mayo could be doing some secret shit in the background? Yeah. I still don't think. I don't think that's mutually exclusive to him turning himself in. People are opportunists. Everyone's an opportunist. You can take the opportunities you got coming to you. He got snatched. He's here. He's made deals before. But miss me with the big... Look at his face. I dropped the bombshell. Maduro turned himself in. U.S. knew and Mayo was getting kidnapped that day. And in the least, they knew that in the very least, they knew that Joaquín Guzmán López was coming. He was on the run for 50 years but want to call it quits. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't believe it. I watched some other of his interviews. He tends to say some things that are not true. He believes in a lot of conspiracy theories, so I take everything that he says with I take a punch of salt. Mayo just got old and too comfortable. That's it. And look how close you had to be to get him. I just ain't buying this guy's face, man. Fuck out of here. Rest in peace, Chucky Chingong. Chucky said he grew up around the block from him. Maduro. He said Maduro.
Maduro.
El Mayo did.
Yes.
He gave up shit on Maduro.
Yes.
Yeah, where's that at? Where's it at?
Him and others. And then all of a sudden, Maduro's picked up after El Mayo came in. Wow. Remember, El Mayo was the biggest drug dealer in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And now everything's so quiet on El Mayo, you don't hear anything about El Mayo.
Yeah, but isn't his son now running shit?
El Mayo Flaco supposedly running still the Sinaloa cartel over there.
Yeah. And they're like in a little civil war with Los Chapitos, right?
Los Chapitos, who have become part of the Nueva Generación cartel. And
Okay, this is what Steven found. The pilot of the plane was arrested in Mexico last year and handed over to U.S. authorities. At Wednesday's press conference, another FG... Okay, who's Boone? Boone is...
He's mentioned earlier in this article.
Okay, yeah, I don't know who the hell Boone is. Boone said that Nunez the pilot, was deported to Mexico after flying the plane to the United States, and he subsequently continued committing crimes in Mexico until his arrest. He said that Mexican authorities transferred Nunez to the United States after his arrest. Okay.
Question.
The pilot was apparently released after landing in New Mexico and allowed to return to Mexico.
Let me ask you.
He was
Let me make a
never
comment
there. As far as I'm concerned, he was never there.
Very important comment. A big observation here. Why would we release him to Mexico after supposedly he participated in kidnapping?
That's just a weak ass story to make up for the fact that an American CIA DEA agent flew that plane.
In Mayo, and then the Mexican government deport him back to us.
Right.
Why wasn't he charged with anything?
Yeah.
That's why I
Why
say
didn't we see him? Because he's a ghost. He's a ghost. He's a ghost.
Mayo surrendered himself. There was no kidnapping.
Yeah.
If you didn't kidnap him, why would you arrest a pilot?
Yeah, but you seem like El Mayo. I mean, this guy's got to have billions of dollars, right?
Yes.
Like, why wouldn't you just take off to, like, I don't know, a foreign country or some island somewhere like in the Mediterranean, or just disappear? Why surrender yourself to the U.S.?
His whole family's over here.
Oh.
Mayo's son's over here. Everybody's here.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Why would he stay in Mexico and be subject to being killed by the
so now why would he come to the U.S. and be subject to a fucking cell? Come on, man.
Nueva Generación Cartel or betrayed by the Mexican government? So before the Mexican government betrayed him, he betrayed them. He came over here. Here I am.
Yeah, made a deal. Leave my family alone.
Are you following why I say that he was not kidnapped?
Of course.
Yeah, there's mad holes in that, man. You're just saying whatever you want to say.
If he was kidnapped, I did kidnap him. There was a warrant for my arrest. The pilot that I used to kidnap Dr. Machine was interrogated and beaten to death in Mexico. He died during the interrogation. The pilot that brought Machine over. This pilot just is let go. How many FBI agents were there waiting for the plane to land with El Mayo? 30, 40 of them?
Right.
And the pilot just...
Yeah, but he don't want to mention Joaquin. He don't want to just say Mayo chose. Forget about the melee that happened, Rocha. It's a little too convenient for you, papas.
Oh, let him go.
And do you think El Chapo's son was on the
And
plane?
Danny don't know enough to argue with him, because Danny brought him in to be the expert. And all of these people are what are they called? Charlatans, man. Everybody's giving pieces of the truth or whatever. Ugh, it's disgusting. Save his kids. What'd he do for his kids? Pete, he ain't done shit for his kids. His kids already did their snitching. That dude got caught. That's what happened.
To provide the cover story?
Yes, he was. He was on the plane.
And specifically just for the cover story.
Yeah, see, Danny. Do you see? Danny's trying to get him to commit. He's playing games.
Oh, let him go.
And do you think El Chapo's son was on the plane to provide the cover story?
Yes, he was. He was on the plane.
And specifically just for the cover story?
Yes. And he's also now a cooperating witness.
Oh, now he is. Now, so I'm just stupid, huh, Velez? Danny might know, but he don't want to lose content. I don't know, man. I don't know that he knows. But yeah, you're right. I lose the content. Cause what do I need it for? What do I need it for if people know that they could come to me to hear a bunch of bullshit? You know what I mean?
Bullshit.
I know they love it, pero coño, man.
Coño, man.
He would never got killed in Durango, only state ran by politician party PRI for a reason, and was Miles' backyard. Bro, he was good. He wasn't. He ain't on the run. Everybody act like he's got his clothes in a fanny pack and he's running.
If you enjoy watching our show on Spotify,
Shout out Danny Jones. I ain't buying it, man. Hector Berrellez can miss me with the bullshit.
Bullshit.
It seems very performative. It seems like crema on the tacos. Yeah, I'm not buying Berrellez's story. He put a couple of things together, but he ignored more things, and to me that is a bias. When somebody does that, they don't want you to see the other road. He's already been caught lying. Him and ex-president, good friends. Him and Berrellez? Berrellez and AMLO, good for buddies. Here's another thing. If he turned himself in, right? Wouldn't that mean either Joaquin would have to be in on it, or he was the one that was captured? Ain't that the right question to ask him? Oh, he was there as the cover, so that means they're friends? I'm just gonna come get a deal too? Sounds like bullshit. And I guess I can't blame Danny Jones for not asking the questions. And he is on the fly right then, and you don't want somebody storming off, but I would rather you storm off. I'm gonna play that shit. I'm gonna play you storming off so everybody sees that you're full of bullshit.
Bullshit.
But answer that question. If he indeed turned himself in the way Hector Berrellez is saying, wouldn't that make the kidnapped one Joaquin? If not, it would make them co-conspirators. But I thought they were not cool no more. Everybody's saying there was beef. What happened? Who got the deal out of this? It's too many open ends right there, bro. He's just doing interviews. No jodimos. We get the bullshit. Fake news everywhere.